For me, it's impossible to put into words what it means for me to see this car and where we are in the Rimac campus, because it's basically my life's work. All my adult life I have invested to get where we are today. Not just me, hundreds of other people, actually thousands of people have participated in this, not just to create a completely new category of cars and to push the limits of what is possible in the auto industry, but also to create all the technologies and know-how, an industry that didn't even exist in this country before us. And to do all of that, the chances to success, the chances to get where we are today were 0.000 something. And it was only possible because of the incredible work and dedication and grit and hard work that everyone has put in to make this happen. Basically, it shouldn't have happened. It's a glitch in the matrix that this exists. It's such a crazy story that all of this started with a broken BMW 16 years ago, and then the Concept One, which we just barely somehow, super small team of people put together, all doing it for the first time, all in their 20s without any experience, no money, being basically completely bankrupt before we even started. And then going the next step, something so bold, like creating the world's first true road-going electric hypercar with 2,000 horsepower and so on. And there was no one else who could help us. We had to develop it for the first time. We were mostly unexperienced young people in a country that didn't have this industry before, and we had to figure it out. There was no other option. Many people ask me which is my favorite car, and I always say it's the Nevera because this is where I gave most of my blood. So this car for me is a mountain, Mount Everest of blood, sweat and tears of all the people who have been involved to make it happen. Of course, lots of joy and excitement and beautiful moments as well, but it was really hard work. And I know every part of that car. I can tell you a story of every part. I know who developed every part, why it is that way, why it's not another way, what we were considering doing differently or what we should have done differently, because post festum you're always smarter, you have learned a lot, and you know what you could have done better, what you should have done, and that's the learning curve. That's why we went from a Concept One to the Nevera, from the Nevera to the Nevera R, from the Nevera R to the Tourbillon. The fascinating thing about a project like this is that it all starts in a brain as an idea. So it's just a little bit of electricity in someone's brain, and then it takes lots of people, years of hard work to get from that idea to something where you can now look at it. And for me, that's fascinating. You are then sitting in that thing that didn't exist years before. None of the parts in that car existed. And you are surrounded by tens of thousands of parts of carbon, aluminum, copper, steel, rubber, and software that brings it all together. And then you push a button, it wakes up, you put it in drive, you push the throttle, and it moves incredibly fast, but it was nothing that just a few brain cells firing 5 years earlier. When you start something like this, you never know if you are right, if you are completely wrong, if you have bitten off way too much than you can chew. I mean, it's such a crazy thing to develop your own car and your own brand from scratch in a country that never did it, with a young and inexperienced team without having billions behind you. And when you start that journey, it's easy to say that you are too ambitious, that you are too crazy, and most people fail. And having, in the end, the car in production, that's like a million things where it has to go right, where you cannot screw up. And then after that, you also have to sell the car, to deliver to customers, to establish a relationship with the customers. And we did that as well. Nevera is the most successful electric sports car in terms of volumes sold. And there is Neveras around the world with so many very enthusiastic customers that love the car. So I think we have proven to ourselves and to the world that we can do things that seem impossible. When we started to build Campus, the company was still very small. We had like 300 employees. We didn't have any big contracts with the car manufacturers. Nevera was still not in production. There was no Bugatti. And everyone told me again that I was completely insane. Why would such a tiny company need such a huge building? And then before the campus was built, it was already too small. And now you walk around and we are playing this Tetris game that we were always playing, move this department here, move it there, squeeze it here, build this wall there, tear this wall down that we just built in order to create more space. And we already think about new facilities, expanding this. So every time when I think like this is gigantic and we will not need more space in the next few years, I'm always wrong. So just the growth of the company always surprises me. And just walking around here is so special because you have in the same facility, which is I think unique in the world, artisan work like making carbon fiber, painting it in a very, very high quality level with a lot of customization and details, upholstery with leather and stitching and all that. And then in the same facility, you have super automated, robotized, high volume production facility for batteries, for BMW, for other car companies, which is really a unique blend. And I love to have kids around here when they go around and they see this and they understand how the world around is made. Like, how does it look like when you build a car? How does it look when you build a carbon fiber piece, when you build a battery? And that they understand that they can be part of it. I had this plan from the very beginning, even if it sounded completely insane. When I started to build something big. What did surprise me is how many people you need for that. I didn't expect that you need over 2,000 people to do all of this. And I didn't expect that you need so much space and actually also so many years to do it. So the scale is something that I planned from the beginning, but to get there, how big of a team you need, how much capital you need, how much space, how many machines, how the complexity is, that's something that surprised me. When you walk around the campus, I think it's quite fascinating what you can see. You can see the process starting with a white sheet of paper, where designers start with sketching, and then there's many loops of design and engineering, simulations, aerodynamics, crash tests, many simulations that you have to do, lots of loops until you come to a product that you actually want to make, let's say the bonnet of the car. And then starts the manufacturing engineering. You develop the tooling, we make the tooling, we make the carbon fiber part, we paint it here or upholster it and it goes to the car. So from an idea, a white sheet of paper, until the part on the car, it never leaves this building, never goes outside of this roof. And that's a very special thing also for our customers when you go around and they can see most of the parts of the car being made here. And then in this beautiful facility with white floors, you assemble the world's best car and you look at the 15th century castle, at the nature. So I think it's a pretty special place to be and a very unique setup that we have created here, where you can see so many steps of the process in the same facility. It's easy to mistake craftsmanship and quality for just like tight gaps and the materials in the car, but it's much more. I think it's the quality of the whole experience, like that you have peace of mind that if you go on a trip with the car, that it will serve you, that you will not have any issues, even being a low volume car. That when you come to a charging station, that it will work, that when you connect your phone, that you have Apple CarPlay or that you have a good audio system, that things just work. Even if it's a low volume car, that you have storage space, that you have a comfortable seat, that it's safe, you know, whatever happens, if it's ice on the road or mud or whatever, that you can still feel safe. And even in case of a crash, if it happens, that this is properly engineered to keep you safe with the airbags, with the super stiff structure and all the aspects of the car. So for me, quality is like thinking about everything and thinking about what customers would never do, maybe, that we do much more than the customer would do, so that whatever the customer decides to do, no matter how crazy it might be, that he can do it, that the car is ready for it. Without failing, you will never achieve something great. That just means you didn't go fast enough, you didn't go bold enough. And we are very bold, and we try to go very fast in every possible way, in terms of development times, but also in terms of performance and speed and so on. And of course, people will make mistakes, of course you will fail. And sometimes it will seem really stupid, like why did we screw this up? But you have to be I think, open enough and forgiving, because it's all a learning exercise. Because if you blame someone for failing, they will be very careful the next time. And that's what I don't want in our company. They have to be excited enough, they have to be bold enough to do crazy things. And if you are blaming for failure instead of learning from failure, people will never have the courage to try. Developing a car is an orchestra. You have thousands of moving parts. Just inside our company, there's hundreds of engineers working on developing a new car. But then you have other suppliers like the tire manufacturer, the brake manufacturer, the seat supplier. They're all contributing, and all of it has to come together. And then the test drivers are the ones who give the feedback to everyone how good of a job everyone did. And the test driver is a very important element in it, because he's representing the customer in the end. Because the engineer will look at his or her little part and maybe not see the bigger picture. Like, okay, my system works. Maybe the engineer won't care that it doesn't feel good and that the sound of the brake is not good, that it squeals and so on. And then the test driver comes in and says, look, performance okay, but this is also important for the customer. And you can say that for every aspect of the car. And thanks God, we have some really good test drivers, some of them really crazy. And I think that's important, that they push the car well beyond of the envelope that any customer would ever do. Because there will be some outlier customers that will do crazy things, but we know that we are crazier and that we have done them all before them. I don't think that records matter because of numbers, but I think that everyone, whatever you do in your life, should try to do the best you can. And my goal is to be the best in the world at what I'm doing, be it cars or batteries or whatever. Otherwise, I won't bother doing it. If there is 5 better people at doing something that we are doing, I'll focus on something else. And records are a way to show, yes, we are the best at what we are doing. The whole world is trying to do the same thing, like companies that are 1,000 times bigger than us, that are doing this for 100 years. And we, the little guys, have managed to beat all of them. And I started my journey already in 2011 by breaking 5 FIA and Guinness World Records. And with the Nevera, we broke 50-ish world records. Some of them are serious ones, like acceleration and top speed and so on, but also silly ones, like driving 275 kilometers per hour in reverse. And people ask me, why would you do such a record? What's the point of that? Well, why not? We are doing things not just because they make sense. You know, life is about more than just, being serious. Much, much stronger and bigger companies are trying to get after our records, and some of them are already broken. And I'm actually excited by that, because, okay, game on, there is someone else trying to do what we are doing, and they are a lot bigger, so we need to punch above our weight like we do so many times, and we will do it again. I think Nevera is by far the most emotional electric car in the world. I don't consider it an electric car, I consider it the pinnacle of technology at its time. So what could you do, the craziest thing? And I didn't do it because I wanted to make an electric car, I wanted to make the craziest car. And you can't make a combustion car with 4 engines, where each engine is controlling one wheel, but you can do that with electric motors, and that's why I did it. And with that, you can do so many things, and I drive the Nevera every day. My Nevera is 40,000 kilometers. I use it to go grocery shopping, to go on long trips, to drive on the snow, to drive in the summer, in the winter, everything, everything. I go hiking with the car, I go into the woods. I really use it for everything. I don't think there's any car that you can push that much with still being in control and safe and have a good experience. And then there is one thing that I love, especially in cities and in traffic, it's teleportation. I call it teleportation. Wherever you see a gap or you want to go with the car there in traffic, like everyone is accelerating and so on, with the Nevera, you don't think about it. You are just like, poof, you're there. The next second you're there. I like to play tricks on people when you are on a big road in the city with 3-4 lanes. And of course, with the Nevera, you are first at the traffic light. And then, launch control, and you just wait for the yellow light to appear. And just the time when the yellow appears, you release the brake and the car launches itself to launch control. And of course, 2 seconds later, you are already at the maximum prescribed speed. And before anyone has realized what's going on, before any of the other drivers has even started, you have already teleported yourself to the next traffic light. Well, with customers, we speak about everything, of course, about the cars, but that's just the starter. Then we talk about business, about life. These are people with lots of life experience, with lots of business experience, and believe me, you can learn a lot from them. I love to learn from our customers, but I mean, I love to learn from everyone, but especially our customers, and some of them became kind of my mentors. I think I learned a lot over the last years, and at the beginning, I think I was just focused on the product, like just the technology and the performance and like the car itself. But now I realize more how much other things are important, the community around it, building relationships with the customers, building friendships, not to sell them something, but because that's, you know, the life we are living. We are part of this industry, they are our customers, and we are going this journey together. And when I think about it, how some of our customers, I remember the first one, he walked into our facility when we were like 10 employees, and for, you know, a bunch of 20-year-olds not knowing what we were doing. And he went this whole journey with us, from the Concept 1 to the Nevera, to the Nevera R, to Bugatti, to the Campus, to 2,000 employees, doing all of these crazy things and dozens of events around the world. He was with us in China, in the US, in Geneva, everywhere. And it became a huge part of his life. We changed his life, and we changed lives of many people. And I think that's something that I learned over the years now, that there's so much more than just creating a great product, just focusing on the car. It's much wider than that. In the end, we developed these cars not to sit around and be museum pieces. For me, it's really important that customers use it, and that's why I'm leading with example. I use the car all the time, every day. I came to work with my Nevera this morning as 40,000 kilometers, which is extraordinary for a hypercar. And even when I'm traveling, I'm leaving the car often to employees or friends or family. I don't care, like, I think whoever dies with the least miles on their favorite cars has lost. You know, life is short, and like, you know, there's so many perfectly conditioned cars that are still in perfect shape while their owners are long gone. And we create these cars to create great memories, not sitting around, but driving them, having fun with them, you know, use it, enjoy it. If something happens, we'll take care of it. Doesn't matter, and you know, just enjoy it as much as you can. We decided to do the Founders Edition for two reasons. One was to celebrate the Nevera, because this crazy journey deserves a big ending. But the second one, and maybe more importantly, we, despite being a very young brand, have an incredibly loyal and strong community around us, and the customers that are incredibly supportive and really parts of the family. So for those, let's say, 10 most loyal customers, the customers that are with us, really part of our Rimac family, for them we wanted to create these 10 special cars as a celebration of the Nevera. Most of our customers are entrepreneurs, self-made. They have created their businesses, and now they are awarding themselves by buying a car like this. And for them, one part is the car, but the other part is being part of the journey and part of the family. And that's very important for me also, because life is short, and you know, the moments we share together, there are some moments that you cannot relive or cannot pay with money. It's just the connections we have with our customers, but then also the customers that create these connections between themselves. I think that's a very important aspect for them, where they connect to me also as an entrepreneur. They see themselves also in me. They are usually people who are a bit older than me, because they have also needed time to build their businesses. So we also form often a very deep connection as also some advisors. I learn from them, they learn from us. It's a very interesting dynamic and connection, where the car is, of course, you know, the centerpiece, but there is so much more around the car, where we, with the customers, form much deeper relationships. For me, the Founders Edition is a symbol of the people who are most loyal to us and the customers who are the closest connected to us. And these 10 cars will always be special, with the 10 customers behind it who are really part of the Rimac family. and the journey of it, where we met so many people. There's so many stories that we can tell, records broken, races won, journalist test drives. I mean, it's just like when you put all of that together, it's incredible that this all happened in the space of the last 10 years. Nevera, the Nevera has a huge legacy. I don't think that many cars in the industry have such an impact and legacy. I mean, if you look at it, this whole company wouldn't exist without the Nevera. But also, I don't think there would be a Bugatti today without the Nevera, which is a crazy story on its own. For sure, there would be no Bugatti Tourbillon without the Nevera. There wouldn't be an automotive industry in Croatia producing cars, so it's changing a whole country. And I think the whole automotive industry gained a lot because the technology from the Nevera is now in many other cars of many other car companies. So a car that's just produced in a very low volume probably never had such a huge impact in so many different areas, on a whole country, on many other car companies, on a brand that exists over 100 years, from one car where you would probably have not expected that. It's not just enough to have developed and built a car. I think I want to be somewhere in 50 years' time on a Concours d'Elegance and we see the Nevera there still being used and still being relevant and still being beautiful, and people telling stories about it like, do you remember this car? Like at that time, what crazy things these guys did with that car, and look at what came out of it. Like this, I hope in 50 years we will still be around and there will be a very strong company with great products still there, and it's all because of the Nevera. And to have it in motion also is very important, because we are not making art pieces, we are not making museum pieces. They are of course pieces of art, they are beautiful, but they are built to be in motion, to be used, and we want to be long enough around to support these cars, because we want them to still have the performance they have today in 20 years, in 40 years, in 50 years, and that the people can still enjoy them and use them, and that it will be a classic one day. And also, I think it's connected to the journey of the people here, because whatever we create in the future, this is the starting point. And I think that's why this car will have its value also in the future, because it was the first, let's say, grand project that I did, that many people around me did. But, you know, if hopefully our plans fulfill and we do many more things in the future, that means that this car will have its relevance, its place in the history, because without it, there wouldn't be any future for us. Well, my message to Rimac's owners and fans would be, well, without you, we would not be able to do all of these crazy things. And you are the reason why we are doing this. We are working every day, coming here early in the morning, leaving late at night, working on weekends to make products for you that you will like, love, use, and create great memories with. And I would encourage all of the owners of the Nevera to have them as much out as possible, do crazy things with it, race them, rally them, do ice drifting, you know, just use them. We love to see it and we'll be always there to support.